What's up guys, it's driftsnlifts here. Alright, so today's episode, we are going to be installing some new parts on the panel wagon to make it perform better. So if you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you know I've been sliding this car like this for the last, 4 months. Pretty much in this exact same setup. So it's got an IPD turbo cam on a stock B230 FT motor, so a stock turbo motor. It's got the stock turbo, so the 13C, basically the smallest turbo these motors ever came with. This also has an upgraded intercooler, but other than that, it's pretty much stock. It's running about 14 pounds of boost. What I like about this stock turbo is it's really responsive. So if you guys watched the episode where we did the drift competition, you'll notice that this car is actually pretty responsive. So spools really quick. You get full boost. Let's say you hit it at like complete idle in 4th gear. You'll literally get full boost by like the early 2000 RPM range. So this turbo spool is super quick. Now, with that being said, it was put on this car from the factory with the intentions of the car being 160 horsepower. This turbo is really tapped out at this level of boost. Even 14 pounds, it's really not that much. It's great, but this is the max limit of this turbo. So now we have something else. And if you look over here, I have this whole set. So we're gonna be slapping this on. This is an HE341 turbocharger. So this is from like an 03 Dodge Cummins common rail. It has a smaller compressor wheel, so that's going to be good. I wanted to go as small as possible while still being a big turbo, if we could say. So we got this. We're going to put it on the panel wagon. So while the stock turbo gasses out at 14 PSI, a turbo like this you'll be able to run if you want 30 plus pounds of boost. Really capable turbo. It's got a nice big compressor housing, good size comp wheel and turbine wheel. So these are really cheap. You can find them dirt cheap, but they're also a really good turbo. So I got this one for 250 bucks. It takes a little bit of clocking to get all set up for a red block. Obviously it's all configured a bit different for the Cummins. But what I did is I clocked the center cartridge, and then I took the big snap ring off of this compressor housing and I rotated that. Now the stock wastegate actuator on these is, it's gonna be like 20 plus PSI. So I had the China Bay turbo laying around. If you look over here, this is the Max Peating Rods T3, T4. So I took the wastegate actuator off of this turbo and it actually fit up on that whole set perfectly. So what the plan is, we're gonna put this turbo on, we're gonna run it on the stock ECU and stock injectors and we're just gonna go see how it feels on like 10 pounds of boost. But then we're gonna save up a couple bucks for a tune, and then we're gonna install this full wiring harness with my Spitronics standalone ECU. Then we're gonna find some big injectors, so probably like a 630cc injector of some sort, maybe a little smaller. And we're gonna put it all together. We're gonna bring it down to post-haste performance when he's got a sec, and we're gonna get this thing tuned and crank it up to some big power numbers. When I say big power, I mean like 300 horse hopefully. So we'll put probably about 25 pounds of boost into this turbo. Hopefully it makes some decent power. I'm gonna have to be really careful with the gears and the transmission because we are still running an M46 transmission. As you guys know, they're not super strong. Yeah, so we're gonna start that tonight, guys. I pretty much have everything. The only thing I don't have is a braided oil line, but looking at them, I'm hoping the hard lines for the stock turbo might actually line up with this whole set. I think we should have everything. I also got this off eBay. So these turbos outlet is actually a 4-inch. So this is a 4-inch V-band that goes into a 3-inch pipe. It's got a little bung on here for the O2, which is pretty sweet. I think we have everything, guys. We might not finish it tonight, but if we don't finish it tonight, we're gonna hope to finish it tomorrow. The only thing I'm a little bit concerned about is running a factory MAF. I might run the MAF right off here, honestly, like after the turbo, or I'm gonna have to find like a reducer coupler to go from 4-inch to 2.5. And that's a really big reduction from a 4 to a 2.5. I've called all the shops around here and none of them have a coupler like that. So I might have to reduce it from a 4 to a 3, then a 3 to a 2.5, which would be kind of wonky, but I think it'll work. Yeah, we're just gonna hang out in the garage here, guys, and pull some parts off and slap stuff together, and hopefully we can get this thing running.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
guys, so we got the 13C turbo out of the car. So we have it next to the HE341 right here. And as you can see, the size difference is tremendous. It's almost like double the size it looks like, but this thing looks really sweet on this manifold. The only thing I wish I did was maybe tack these bolts on, or sorry, these nuts on, because I got a random assortment of random bolts holding this thing on, and when it's in the car, they might be a little tough to tighten, but it might not be so bad. So even the oil return line looks like the exact same length. I should be able to slide the braided line I got there over this one. Should work mint, and we don't have water lines anymore, so this is just an oil cooled turbo. So I just bypassed this whole turbo setup on the car there. It looks like our downpipe's going to be pointing in a strange direction, because as you can see, this one extends and kind of goes down here. This one's probably going to be shooting right at the subframe or the oil filter or something. This is going to be really temporary running it like this. We'll extend the pipe, and actually let us know in the comments right now. Let's see your guys' opinions. Should I go hood pipe, or should I go proper exhaust, like build it out and then side pipe? Let us know in the comments for sure. I love hood pipes, they're super dope, but yeah, I don't want another vehicle inspection on this car because that's kind of a pain in the ass. So, you know, if a cop sees the hood pipe, and this thing will most likely chuck some big flames once we got her dialed. I don't know, let us know. I swear to God, Antonio, I dare go to the venti. Okay, let's see how well this turbine fits. If I can even fit it in here. Oh, it's pretty large, holy shit. Fart particles. It's pretty big to fit in there. Like, f***ing It's frustrating. Ooh. Be careful. Alright guys, so this turbo being a lot bigger than the factory turbo, I thought I was going to be able to just throw it all in, bolt it up to the manifold and everything, but that wasn't the case, so I had to disassemble everything and then put it in piece by piece. Now I'm just kind of putting it back together. I think, I don't know. Look at this though, this oil line lines up almost perfectly. It's almost like this turbo is meant to be in this car. And there's pretty good clearance, honestly. Like once you do have it in here, it's pretty good. So. Alright guys, so unfortunately my cheap China Bay V-band clamp, it seized as soon as I was trying to tighten it, and the exhaust wasn't even tight onto the turbo. It was still flopping around, and it just got super tight all of a sudden. And then I went to try to back it out, it completely seized on me. Then I tried to go forward and back and nothing worked, so I cut it off. And now I don't have a proper V-band clamp. So this is a 3-inch that I found in my garage, but this one's a 4-inch, so that's not gonna work really. Alright guys, so today is the next day now. So I did a little bit of running around and collected a few parts that we needed. So if you saw just a couple seconds ago, we stripped the eBay V-band clamp. We stripped the threads on it. It did not hold the downpipe to the turbo. So I actually found a guy with the HE341 on Craigslist, and I begged him to sell me just the V-band clamp. So I got one of those, cost me 60 bucks. I had to bribe him a little bit. I know 60 bucks is a lot for one clamp, but you know, it is what it is. That was the only one I could find. So we got the turbo in here. I had to do a couple little things that I didn't really want to, just to get the car running so we can go take it for a cruise. But if you see right here, I got the MAF actually in my hot side piping. So realistically, it'd be better to run this on the cold side pipe. So if I had it over here, that would be a little bit better, but I didn't want to extend the MAF wiring. I was just getting kind of, you know, lazy and bored of the whole thing. So it does actually run pretty good right now. We're gonna take it for a little cruise. I've already driven it around a couple times, so we got this oil line in. The whole turbo is basically, you know, it's good to go. The actuator that we're running though, when I took it for a rip last night, I went and hit boost and it went all the way to like 20 pounds, and that is not good because I'm still on stock injectors and ECU and stuff. So I'm gonna have to get an actuator that is like a 10 PSI actuator, preferably from a stock Garrett T3 Volvo 740. So that should fit right on this turbo and be able to gate at like 10 pounds or so. 20 pounds for this setup is way, way too much. That's gonna blow the motor. If you look here, I got a 4-inch aluminum intake pipe. And just for temporary, I'm running this screen door mesh as a filter on the front. Who knows, maybe I'll actually run that for like forever. That'd be pretty funny. Don't test me, guys. I might just run it forever. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But yeah, so the car runs a little bit weird, I think, because the MAF, I've heard of guys running MAFs post turbo, so after the turbo. Usually they are pre-turbo, so before the intake. It's, you know, the MAF's gonna be under a little more stress, it's gonna have more heat, and it's under boost now. But I don't think it's gonna be too much of an issue just to drive the car around. It seems actually like it runs pretty good. It sputters a little bit, it does a little bit of weird stuff, but overall the turbo's in and it's installed, and you know, we got some big plans coming for this. So I'll just tell you that right now before we go for a little cruise in this thing. We'll fire it up and show you guys how it sounds and spools and that kind of thing. Pretty laggy turbo, which is funny. It's probably full boost around 4,000, maybe like a little bit earlier if we're lucky. What the whole plan is, you know, funds are super low right now, so I want to do something cool without spending a ton of money. I want to do something with the parts I kind of have laying around in the garage and make something sort of dope. So the turbo's on. We're going to install the, like I said earlier in the video, the standalone and harness from Miss Huff. We're going to put it in this car, and I'm also going to be installing the 531 ported head from Miss Huff. So it's going to have the Miss Huff power band, probably like 45 to 75 of just awesomeness, with a whole set turbo boost on top. So I'm thinking this is going to be pretty sweet. Like, you know, maybe we'll get boost a little earlier than 4,000, maybe a little bit later, but when it hits, it's gonna be awesome. And I'm gonna get some injectors, hopefully some 570, 640, something big, 720, like up in that range. And then we're gonna shoot for kind of like 300 wheel horsepower range, I guess is kind of the goal. So this ECU that we're running is a Spitronic, so it doesn't have knock control. So that is all a little bit of a limitation, because if we, you know, are running on, Dan asked you, my good friend Dan at Post Haste Performance, when he's tuning this, he's got to take into consideration that he has to dial the tune back quite a bit, because this ECU isn't able to compensate for, you know, way hotter air intake temps or cylinder temps and that kind of thing. So you basically just get what you get, and you got to dial it back so that when the conditions are bad, let's say you get a little bit of bad batch of gas, or it's a lot hotter than usual, you don't want it to all of a sudden start pinging and detonating because of that. So generally with this ECU, you're leaving a little bit on the table. You're probably leaving about 30 horsepower on the table, but maybe a little bit more depending on the timing and that kind of thing. But yeah, so this is what we got. That's the plan for now. Cheap. And like I said, we're super broke right now. Yeah, it's all we can really do right now with what we got laying around and the funds. If you guys want to support the cause, head over to the Drifts and Lifts store and cop some shirts and stuff. If you want to support the channel, we also have a Patreon if you guys are interested in that. It always takes money to keep this stuff going, and we're very appreciative of all of our subscribers and guys that, you know, are watching the channel and watching the videos, because that's why we're here. So anyways, let's fire this thing up and take it for a little cruise around the block. The car warmed up, take it for a little cruise. Like I said, I can't get into full boost, but I'll show you guys kind of how it spools. So we'll like get into it at low RPM and see how the turbo kind of reacts. Okay, so my boost gauge doesn't light up, but I'm gonna put my light on it. We're just gonna kind of see how this turbo spools. So we're sitting at about 2,000 RPM in third gear. I'm just gonna pin it. So it was at about, that's actually not bad, dude. It made 10 pounds of boost. At the time it was at about 3,000 RPM. So we're in fourth gear. Pin it. So yeah, it's basically 10 10 PSI by 3,000 RPM. I don't really want to go any higher than that right now due to the stock injectors and stuff, but it seems like we're going to be hitting full boost by mid 3,000s, maybe maximum 4,000 RPM. That's actually not too bad. Since this car is driven only in the high RPMs mainly anyways, when we're ripping it at the track and stuff, I think it's going to be a pretty sweet setup. Alright guys, so we just got home from our miniature cruise in the panel wagon. So new turbo is laggy, but I think it's gonna work. Once we get it all tuned up on the standalone with the head and everything, I think it's gonna be like, you know, it's not gonna be an optimal setup, but it's gonna make some horsepower, that's for sure. When we're tuning it, we're gonna want a 10 PSI actuator in there, and then we're gonna run a manual boost controller if we wanna increase the boost. But yeah, overall, that's pretty much a wrap up of today's video, guys. I just wanted to show you the end of the turbo swap and kind of what we're up to. So yeah, I don't know, it's cool. I've never actually had a whole set like Cummins turbo. It's funny because I have a Dodge Cummins, and you take the turbo off of the Dodge Cummins and you put it on your Volvo. And it fits in there so well. Like as far as the engine bay clearance and stuff, it almost looks like it was meant to be in there. I would recommend this, you know, if you're going for a big, if you want an upgrade, like a big turbo upgrade and you're doing a bunch of other stuff, you would not want to run this turbo on a stock management and stock everything like I am right now. The stock turbo is going to be faster, more responsive, more power. It's going to be better in all ways. But you know, if you're actually pushing the limits and going up in your total peak power quite a bit, like say you're going from a 200 horsepower goal to like a 300 and 350, 400, you're gonna want to run a bigger turbo. And the dope thing about the whole sets is you can get them so cheap because, you know, you find these on Craigslist for 100 bucks, 150 bucks. I picked them up for anywhere from 100 to 250 is kind of the range. Really durable too, like they, you know, they're handling 50 pounds of boost on a Dodge Cummins truck. 25 pounds of boost on a Volvo is gonna be like really under stressing the turbo. So they're gonna be bulletproof, reliable. You're not gonna have to worry about, you know, wheels blowing up and stuff like that. It's an industrial turbo, so it's a beefy unit. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much a wrap up of today's video. Check out the Drifts and Lifts store. Thanks for your support. We love you guys. We're stoked to keep doing this. Yeah, so lots of stuff to come for the channel, guys. Trust me, lots of stuff. Like and subscribe for Seggy Volvo tits. Peace out.